A Plaguelands Media production.
Hey everyone, this is Hugh from Plaguelands Media bringing you another gamebook playthrough today. So, cheers. That is a good, refreshing beer. Now, on the channel, pardon me, I've reviewed and played through fighting fantasy game books, but this is something a little bit different. Now, growing up, I was always familiar with the Lone Wolf series by Joe Diva, and I actually had a couple of them that I picked up from secondhand bookstores here and there. Never actually got into them, never actually played them. I did have the Lone Wolf role-playing game at one point, but gave it away. But I did discover recently that you can get the books in a series. The first one being books 1 to 5, and then 6 to 12, and so on and so forth. So I ended up picking them up, and today I am actually going to play through book 1, Flight from the Dark. Now, those of you that know my fighting fantasy videos know that my dice rolling sucks. It's inevitable. The Lone Wolf series has a little bit different mechanics, and by that I mean it has a random number table. So instead of rolling dice, you're supposed to close your eyes and kind of point to a number, and that's the number you use. I'm instead going to be using a trusty 10-sided dice, 0, of course, being 0 instead of 10. And for combat, we have the combat results table here, which I will explain as I play through the game itself. Now, the character sheet is fairly simple. You have your combat skill, you have your endurance points, which of course I will talk about as I get into the game. But at the beginning of the game, you start with an axe. You have your backpack with a green cloak and a tunic in it. You have 1 meal, and you get 5 Kai disciplines. Now, the disciplines I have chosen are hunting, sixth sense, healing, mind blast, and weapon skill with an axe, which was a random die roll, of course. You have your belt pouch, special items, and all of that kind of thing. Now, the adventure, the book comes with the adventure kind of sheet in it, but I've just mocked up this kind of really shoddy looking one for the purposes of simplicity and the fact that when I play books like this, I never like to write in them. I always like to have the adventure sheet off to the side. So this is going to be my first time playing a Lone Wolf book. This is going to be my first time with Flight from the Dark. What is interesting about these books is that if you manage to complete it, everything gets transferred over. Your character with all the equipment and everything can move on to the next adventure, which in this case is Fire on the Water. But I will have to first beat Flight from the Dark, which you will see now in the next episode of
Read a fucking book. Read a fucking book. People.
Okay, you might hear some background noise. That's just the washing machine. So, you know, whatever. This is a fucking amateur YouTube channel. Get over it. But it's all good. Now, Flight from the Dark. Let me just kind of raise this up a bit so we can get everything in shot. Okay. So, we need to get our combat skill. So, go to the random number generator and add 10. So I'm just going to roll this, and 0 to 9. So I got a 0, so my combat skill is 10. Told you it always fucking happens. Fair enough. And for endurance, you roll it, you pick a number, which again, and then add 20. And I got 9, so my endurance is 29. I've got a fucking horrible combat skill, but high endurance. Now the disciplines I picked was hunting, which means I'll always be able to find food, so the meal thing doesn't kind of count here. Sixth sense, I'm warned of imminent danger, which is kind of cool. Healing, if I'm in an area with no combat, I get 1 endurance point back. Mind Blast gives me +2 to my combat skill. And weapon skill with the axe gives me +2. And because I have an axe, my combat skill is going to actually be 14. So let's go to the story so far. Okay. In the northern land of Summerland, it has for centuries been customary for parents to send their most gifted children to the monastery of the Kai on the occasion of their 7th birthday. There they are taught the skills and martial disciplines of their noble ancestors. The Kai are masters of their art, and the children in their charge love and respect them in spite of the hardships of their training. For one day, when finally they have mastered the disciplines of the Kai, they will be able to return to their homes equipped in mind and body to defend themselves and their kin from the constant threat of war from the Dark Lords of the West. In olden times, during the age of the Black Moon, the Dark Lords waged war on Summerland. The conflict was a long and bitter trial of strength that ended in victory for the Summerlandings at the great battle of Mackingorge. King Ulnar I, himself gifted with Kai powers, aided with the allies of Durinor, broke the Darkland armies at the pass of Moitura and forced them back into their bottomless abyss of Mackingorge. Vashna, mightiest of the Dark Lords, was slain upon the sword of King Ulnar, called Summer Sword, the Sword of the Sun. Since that age, the Dark Lords have vowed vengeance upon Summerland and the House of Ulnar. Now it is the morning of the feast day of Feimarn. I'm butchering these names, but who cares? The first day of spring. It is an old tradition of the Kai to gather at their monastery in the foothills of the Durncrag Mountains of Fernam in order to reaffirm the fealty to the god Kai and to the Summerlanding House of Ulnar. Kai journeymen and envoys have travelled far to return in time for the celebrations marking the beginning of a new year in Summerland. You are a young Kai called Silent Wolf. This is the name you were given by your Kai masters when you first entered the monastery. You are an initiate in the noble order, and this will be the 8th year you have taken part in the Furman ceremony. Your feeling of pride and excitement are the same now as they were when you first arrived here from your home in the village of Dage, a little over half your short lifetime ago. These past few days have been an exciting time for you and your fellow cadets. The journeymen have been recounting their tales of battles won and quests fulfilled in distant lands. On this fateful morning, you have been sent to collect firewood in the forest as a punishment for your inattention in class. Well, that was basically me in every fucking class. As you are preparing to return, you see to your horror a vast black cloud of black leathery creatures swooping out of the western skies and engulf the monastery. The Dark Lords, ancient enemies of the Summerlings, are attacking. War has begun. Dropping the wood, you race to the battle that has already begun, but in the unnatural dark, you stumble and strike your head on a low tree branch. As you lose consciousness, the last thing you see in the distant shadows is the walls of the monastery and its warning tower, the crystal beacon, crashing to the ground. Many hours pass before you awake. With tears in your eyes, you now survey the scene of destruction. Raising your face to the clear sky, you swear vengeance on the Dark Lords Father! IT crowd, you'll know what that means. For the Massacre of the Kai, warriors, and with a sudden flash of realization, you know what you must do. You must set off on a perilous journey to the capital city to warn the king of the terrible threat that now faces his people, for you are now the last of the Kai. You are... Wait, I'm over here. There we go. You are now Lone Wolf. I'm sorry for that little camera mix-up there, but whatever. Okay. So we got how to kind of do everything. Oh, gold crowns. I've got to roll for my gold crowns, which is going to be in my belt pouch. 2. Okay, we had a little camera fail there, but it's all good. So I've got 2 gold crowns in my belt pouch along with my other stuff. Let me just fix the camera up. This is not going well, but that is because I have a new phone and yeah, it doesn't always work so good. This is a map of the lands themselves, and we go into 1. Okay, you must make haste, for you sense it is not safe to linger by the smoking remains of the monastery. The black-winged beast could return at any moment. You must set out for the Sumlending capital of Holmgard and tell the king the terrible news of the massacre, that the whole something of the Kai, whatever, save yourself, has been slaughtered. Without the Kai lords to lead the regiments of Sumlanding army, Sumland would be at the mercy of the ancient enemy, the Dark Lords. Fighting back tears, you bid farewell to your dead kin, your fellow Kai initiates, Rain Dove, Steel Sky, and Snow Falcon, to your own tutor, Master Starfire, the leader of your order, Grandmaster Brave Blade, and so many others. Silently you promise that their deaths will be avenged. You turn away from the ruins and carefully descend the steep track. At the foot of the hill, the path splits in 2 directions, both leading to a large wood. If you possess the Kai discipline of Sixth Sense and wish to use it, if you do not, you may follow the right. I'm going to use Sixth Sense. If it's telling me to use it, I will use it. 141. Oh, pardon me. Your Kai Sixth Sense warns you that some of the Kran and Gaiak that attacked the monastery are now searching the 2 forest paths looking for anyone who may have survived their attack. You are now aware of the danger and make your decision which way to go. If you want to go along the left fork of the forest track under the cover of the surrounding trees, if you would prefer to cut through the heavier foliage towards the northeast. I'm going to go heavier foliage, 333. You have cut your way through the thick undergrowth for nearly half an hour when you hear the beat of wings high above the trees. Looking up, you can just make out the shape of a Kran approaching from the north. It is one of the monsters that attacked the monastery, and on its back are 2 grey-skinned creatures armed with long spears and wearing dull red uniforms. These are mountain Gyaks, evil servants of the Dark Lords full of hatred and malice. You recall what you were taught about these beings by Master Stormhawk, your old Kai tutor, who was sadly killed during the mission in the Derncrags. Many centuries ago, their ancestors were used by the Dark Lords to build the infernal city of Hedgedard, which lies in the volcanic wastelands far beyond the Derncrag Mountains. With the construction of the city, the construction of the city was long and torturous, and only the strongest of the Gyaks survived the furnace-like heat and poisonous atmosphere of Helgad. Hidden by the trees, you freeze, keeping absolutely still as the Kran passes overhead and disappears towards the south. When you're sure it is gone, you move off once again into the forest. 131. Okay, just going to take a drink because this looks like a long one. You have covered about a mile of thick woodland when you hear a curious noise coming from somewhere beyond the trees ahead. It is a sharp crack like the sound of a distant thunderclap. There is a pause for a few moments before you hear it again. You stop to listen, and your keen hearing detects other sounds, the clank of armor and the angry shouts of Giax. Forewarned of possible danger, you advance through the trees with caution now until you reach the edge of a wide clearing. The ground beyond is littered with the remnants of ancient buildings, which have been leveled and eroded by the passing of many centuries. You have visited this place on one previous occasion and recognize it to be the ruins of Ramas, an ancient forest settlement and temple that was constructed during the age of the Old Kingdoms. A war party of Giax, some 25 to 30 strong, is attacking the temple sanctorum, the one structure in all of Ramas that remains partially intact. A similar number of Giax lie dead or dying among the broken pillars of the ancient marble that surround the inner temple. But despite their heavy losses, the enemy are maintaining their assault against whatever it is that lies hidden inside. Suddenly, a bolt of blue lightning rips through the front rank of Giax, sending the armor-clad creatures tumbling in all directions. A Giac taller than the others and dressed from head to foot in black chainmail curses at his faltering troops and whips them forward with a barbed flail. With your weapon ready, you leave the tree line and enter the ruins. The tumble of fallen columns and broken moss-covered walls provide you plenty of cover in which you're able to hide from the Giacs. You're able to make your way unseen to a ring of broken pillars encircling the sanctorum, and from here you try to catch a glimpse of the defenders. To your amazement, the inner temple is being defended by a young man no older than yourself. You recognize his sky blue robes embroidered with moons and stars. He is a young member of the Magician's Guild of Toran, an apprentice in magic. Whipped on by their leader, the Giacs, clad in dull red uniforms, make a desperate frontal attack upon the sanctorum with their spears held in readiness to stab the apprentice magician. You catch a fleeting glimpse of his blue robes as he hurriedly retreats to the rear of the inner temple ruins. Then you see him turn and raise his left hand just moments before a bolt of blue flame shoots from his fingertips into the snarling Giac soldiers, scattering them to the ground. Close to where you are hiding, you see a purple-clad Giac scuttle past and climb one of the pillars at the rear of the sanctorum. He has a long curved dagger in his mouth and he's getting ready to jump on the young wizard standing below. So, do I shout a warning to the wizard, run forward and intercept the Giac when he jumps, pick up a chunk of marble and throw it at the Giac's head, or leave the area? Well, I'm not going to leave this fucking guy behind, but what do I want to do? I'm going to intercept. I'm going to run forward and intercept. 55. Okay. Just as the purple-clad Giac makes his leap, you race forward and strike out with your weapon. You strike the Giac in mid-air and deflect it away from the young wizard's back. The instant it hits the ground, you jump on it. You jump on its struggling body and strike again. So, he is wounded. Combat skill 9, endurance 9. Okay, so, let me just dog ear that. So let's put Giac 9 for now. Combat skill and... Okay, so... due to the surprise attack and the wound you have already inflicted, you may add 4 points to your combat skill for the duration of this fight. Deduct this bonus as soon as the fight is over. Okay, so my combat skill is 10. I have Mind Blast, makes it 12. I have a weapon skill with Axe, which I'm using, which makes it 14. So I have an 18. And his combat skill is 9. So we go to the combat skill table, and I have plus 9, plus 10. So I'm going to roll a die. This is how combat is done here. And I rolled a 2. So I go to 2, and I go to this column. He loses 9. I lose 3. Enemy and player character. So he is killed immediately, but I lose 3 endurance in the battle, so I am down to 26 endurance points. Okay, that was kind of cool. If you win, 325. Okay, hold on. Yeah, if you win, 325. Okay, 325. Upon seeing you emerge from the woods, the Geark officer shouts, "Ogot, Ogot," to his cowering troops who flee the ruins and run to the safety of the forest. The black-capped Geark leader follows them and pauses when he reaches the tree line. Turning to stare at you, he shakes his mailed fist and screams, "Raneg, rogok, och, okak, blah, 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 flibba, blib, blah, blib." He then holsters his barbed flail and melts away into the trees. Surveying the scene of the recent battle, you count 15 dead Gearks lying among the ancient pillars and scattered ruins of Ramas. The young wizard emerges from the sanctorum. He wipes his brow and walks towards you, a smile on his face, his hand extended in friendship. 349. Oh, another long one. Taking a drink. Just deal with it. Okay. This apprentice magician is a young blonde-haired youth with deep brooding eyes. His face is lined with exhaustion and the grime of battle, and his long sky-blue robes bear evidence of living rough in the wilds. He shakes his hand and bows. He shakes your hand and bows. My eternal thanks, Kai Warrior. My modest powers are nearly drained. Had you not come to my aid, I fear I would have ended my days atop a Giak lance. He is weak and unsteady on his feet. You take his arm and sit him down upon a fallen pillar, where you listen intently to what he has to say. My name is Benadon. I am a journeyman to the Brotherhood of the Crystal Star, which is the Magician's Guild of Toran. My guildmaster sent me to the Kai with this urgent message. He removes a vellum envelope from inside his robes and hands it to you. As you see, I have opened the letter and read its contents. When the invasion began, I was on the King's Highway with 2 travelling companions. The Crown attacked us and we lost each other in the forest during our escape. The letter is a warning to Kai Grandmaster Brave Blade that the Dark Lords have mustered a vast army beyond the Dernkrag range. Their movement and true numbers have been kept hidden by powerful spells and shielding and illusion. The Guildmaster urges the Grandmaster to cancel the celebrations of Faraman and prepare immediately for war. I fear we were betrayed, says Bandon, his head bowed in sorrow. One of my order, a senior brother called Vonatar, was discovered to have been experimenting with the forbidden mysteries of Nadziranim magic, the black arts of the Dark Lords. 10 days ago, he denounced the Brotherhood and killed one of our elders. He has since disappeared. It is rumoured that he is now in league with the Dark Lords. You tell Bandon what has happened at the monastery and of your mission to warn the king. Silently, he removes a gold chain from around his neck and hands it to you. On the chain is a small crystal star pendant. It is the symbol of my brotherhood, and we are both truly brothers in this hour of darkness. It is a talisman of good fortune and a ward against evil. May it protect you on your road ahead. Hey, thanks, dude. You thank him, place a chain around your neck, and slip the crystal star inside your shirt. Okay, so I've got to put crystal star pendant in special items. Okay. It notably allows you to repick one number from the random number table per adventure. Okay. Bandon wish you farewell. We must leave this place lest the Gaiaks return with more of the lonesome kind to put an end to us. For my part, I suppose my mission is done. I have delivered my message and now I must return at once to my guild. For your part, Lone Wolf, you still have many miles to go before you reach Holmgard. Bandon gets to his feet and points towards the trees at the southern perimeter of the ruins. That way lies Alema Bridge. It is by far the swiftest route from here to Holmgard, yet it may no longer be the safest. I bid you farewell, my brother. May the blessings of Kai and Ishtar go with you. You may wish to note on an action chart that you have visited the ruins of Ramas. Okay. So I'll just put down here. All right. And go to 293. The plot thickens in deedly-doo. With a wave of his hand, Baindon bids you farewell and heads off into the trees to the northeastern edge of the ruins. You return his wave and then continue your mission, pushing through the dense woodland that fringes the southern part of Ramos, heading in the direction of that Baindon recommended. You have not gone far when you realize several pairs of yellow eyes are watching you from the undergrowth to your left. Suddenly a black arrow skims the top of your head. Is it a Gaiac ambush, and you must run as fast as you can to escape it. 281. Those fuckers. If you're wondering what a Gaiac is, it's these looking motherfuckers. Kind of basically the lone wolf versions of orcs. Okay. As you race through the trees, you can hear the horrible sound of the guy close behind you. Soon the trees start to thin out, and directly ahead you can see a rocky hillside. If you wish to break from cover of the trees and climb the hill, or decide to change direction and continue to run through the forest. Okay, see, these are the questions I love these game books for. Like, which one do you do? They've got arrows. If I climb up the hill, they're just going to fucking shoot me, right? But then, do they want me to go? I'm going to go into the forest. Fuck it. 77. Three mountain Gaiacs are unaccustomed to pursuing their prey through dense forest, and you soon outdistance them until finally the sound of their foul cursing has faded into the distance behind you. When you are satisfied that they have given up the chase, you stop a few minutes to catch your breath and check your equipment with the memory of your slain kin and the ruined monastery still blazing in your mind. You gather your meager belongings and push through the forest. I also have healing, so I can actually go up because I'm not in combat. I can go up to 27. 19. You have covered no more than 50 yards when you see a clump of dark red foliage ahead. You recognize this to be gallow brush, a thorny briar with sharp crimson barbs. The common name for this forest briar is sleep tooth, for its thorns are very sharp and the effect of its mild toxin can make you feel weak and sleepy if they scratch your skin. I don't have tracking. Do I want to... I've got hunting. I don't have tracking. You can avoid the sleep tooth by returning to the track. Or you can push through the briars. I'm returning to the track. I'm playing it safe. 272. Keeping a watchful eye on the skies above, you move quickly along the trail. You're familiar with this route and have travelled it many times. It leads to a village called Fogwood, a small cluster of cottages and a watermill. Its hard-working woodfolk earn a living from the timber they harvest from the trees, from the ore they mine and the modest quantity from the foothills, and the sheep which they graze on patches of clear timberland. The village was given its name by the charcoal burners who first came here and made a simple forest life for themselves many centuries ago. After 20 minutes, you reach the edge of a clearing where the log cabins and cottages are grouped in a small circle. The huts are unusually quiet. I don't have tracking. You prepare your weapon and stealthily approach the huts. 305. Through the open doorway of the first log cabin, you can see the body of a villager lying face down on the rough stone floor. He has been murdered, stabbed in the back by a spear. All his furniture and belongings have been smashed and broken, and not one piece remains intact. Whew. This is the evil handiwork of Gaiacs, without any doubt, for the delight and destruction of all things. A quick check of the other huts and cottages reveals a similar story of murder and wreckage. In the last hut that you search, you discover a Gex spear, proof of your suspicions. You may keep this weapon if you wish. Yes, I will take it. Gex spear. Fucking take everything. This is bullshit right here. More determined than ever now to succeed in your mission, you continue along the track. 105. In the distance, perched on the branch of an old oak tree, is a jet black raven. If you have the Kai discipline of animal kinship, I don't. If you do not possess this skill or do not wish to use it, 335. Okay. As you approach, the blackbird flies off above the trees and soon disappears from view. You search the tree on which it was perched but find nothing unusual. Rather than waste any more precious time, you continue along the track. 121. You leave the clearing and press on, but only after a few minutes spent walking on the trail, you see a stranger clad in red standing in the center of the track ahead. He has his back toward you and his head is covered by the hood of his scarlet robes. Perched on his outstretched arm is the black raven you saw earlier. So there we have that dude. If you wish to call the stranger, approach the stranger cautiously, draw your weapon and attack. I'm going to approach him cautiously. 342. You have taken less than 10 paces forward when the raven squawks a warning to the stranger. Turning to face you, the robed creature utters a piercing screech that freezes your blood and knots your stomach with fear. This is no human. It is a Vordak, a lieutenant of the Dark Lords, one of the walking undead. Its piercing scream fills your ears. What a fucking bad time for this. Okay. Its piercing scream fills your ears as this fell creature withdraws a black mace from inside its robes and raises it above its head. Frozen stiff with horror, you can feel the Vordak is also attacking you with its powerful psychic energies. You must fight this creature. Deduct 2 points from combat skill unless you have the Kai Discipline Mind Shield. It is immune to Mind Blast. Okay. So we are fighting a Vordak. It has combat skill of 18 and endurance of 26. I apologize for that. I just keep, every time I try to write, I keep nudging the camera and the tripod keeps falling over. Okay, again, I apologize for the weird camera shifting, but I just somehow keep knocking the camera over. It has combat skill of 18 and endurance of 26. I have a combat skill of 10. Mind Blast gives me +2, but it is immune to Mind Blast, and I have Axe. So I have a combat skill of 12. So if we look here in the combat table, wherever that is, let's just find it. There we go. So I subtract 18 from 12, which gives me a -6. So I am using this table here. So for combat, I get a 5. So we each do 4 points of damage to one another. So he goes down to 22. And I go down to 23. Okay. Let's continue. I get a 3. he takes 2 damage, I take 5 damage. So he goes down to 20 endurance, and I take 5, putting me down to 18. And I do a 5, which is again 4 and 4. So I'm down to 14, and he is down to 16. An 8 this time. An 8. He takes 7. I take 2. Okay. So he goes down to 9. I go down to 12. A 7 on here. And we go down here. He takes 7, I take 2. So he is down to 2, and I am down to 10. 7, he is dead, but I am down to 8 endurance. So I managed to defeat the Vordok. Okay, if you win, turn to 1, 2, 3. As the creature collapses at your feet, its body slowly dissolves into a vile green liquid. The grass and the plants around this spreading pool of smoking, bubbling fluid are beginning to shrivel up and die. In the midst of this foul pool, you see a large scarlet gemstone. It looks very valuable. Further along the trail, you can see a large war party of Giaks, over a dozen strong. Alerted and summoned by the Vortex final cries, they're now running towards you, intent on exacting their revenge for your destruction of their fell master. I'm taking that gem. If you wish to snatch the Vordak gem, 304. The Scarlet Gem feels incredibly hot, and it blisters your fingers the moment you grasp it. Lose 2 endurance points. Okay. I'm now down to 6, although I'm going to put myself at 7 because I'm not in combat and I have healing. Hurriedly, you wrap your injured hand with part of the creature's robe and retrieve the gleaming stone from the decaying remains of his body. Record this as a Vordak gem, which you keep in your backpack. Items, Vordak gem. Okay. You feel sure that a gem of this weight and size must be worth hundreds of gold crowns, but your thoughts are soon brought back to the dangerous reality of your present situation. The vengeful Giaks are getting closer with every passing second. Fearful that you will be overwhelmed by their superior numbers, if you stay here a moment longer, you turn and sprint for the cover and safety of the surrounding forest. As you dash through the thickening trees, the shouts of the pursuing Giaks gradually begin to fade behind you. Only when you are completely sure that you have outdistanced them and that they have given up the chase do you dare to stop and take a rest. I'm going to add another health. So I'm back to 8. Pardon me. You are now in part of the Froyland forest that you have never explored before. Through the canopy of branches above you, you catch glimpses of the morning sun. Its position in the sky helps you get your bearings in this thick woodland. You determine that you should be heading towards the southeast in the direction of Holmgard, but to do so now will take you back through the forest towards the Giaks. You resolve instead to turn to the southwest. Your hope is to go eastward again once you have passed the area where you encountered the Vordak and its Giak patrol. Soon you chance upon an old forest trail. It does not appear to have been used for many years. You follow this trail westward for about a mile, and it brings you to an old stone signpost. One arm of the post points directly ahead, and the other one points away to the right. The inscriptions engraved into the arms are badly eroded and written in ancient text you do not recognize. Your keen hearing detects a faint noise in the distance directly ahead. It is the unmistakable sound of Giaks communicating in a harsh guttural language. Wary of running into another enemy war party, you leave the main trail and set off along the smaller track. You have nearly outdistanced them completely when you crash headlong into a tangle of low branches. Okay, pick a number. Well, I'm just going to roll. And I get a 6. 5 to 9, 2, 7, 6. Yes. Reaching for your weapon, you manage to hack your way through the tangle of wood and twisted branches to the clearer forest beyond. Your cloak is torn in several pieces and your right leg is badly bruised to the knee. Lose 1 endurance point. Well, I'm going to lose it, but gain it back because I have healing. So there we go. 2, 1, 3. You have been trekking through the forest for nearly 2 hours. I'm going to gain 1 more endurance point. So I'm going up to 9 just because of my healing. What began as a nagging doubt that you're lost has become a realization. Apart from the occasional cry of a crane in the far distance, you have neither seen nor sensed the enemy occupies any of the surrounding woodland. As slowly you descend a rocky hillock, you notice something unusual in the tangled woods ahead. 331. Okay, surrounded by thorny briars and closely knitted tree roots, I'm going to give myself another endurance point because I'm not in combat. And I fucking need them. This all comes from, by the way, healing. This skill means the Kylord... no, that's hunting. Where is it? Healing. This discipline can be used to restore endurance points lost in combat. If you possess this, you may restore 1 endurance point to your total for every numbered section of the book you pass through in which you are not involved in combat. So that's why that's happening. Surrounded by thorny briars and closely knitted tree roots, you see the entrance to a tunnel disappearing into the hillside beyond. It's approximately 7 feet in height and just over 10 feet wide. As you get closer, you can feel a slight breeze coming from the inky blackness. If the other end of this tunnel emerges on the far side of the hill, it could save you many hours of difficult climbing, but you are also wary of the fact that it could be harboring unknown dangers. I'm going in the tunnel. Fuck this shit. This is just too much fun. Oh, here we go. The tunnel is dark and the air is much cooler than outside. You carefully advance with one hand on the tunnel wall to aid your sense of direction. You have been in total darkness for 3 minutes when you detect the foul smell of decay ahead, similar to rotting meat. If you have a torch or a tinderbox in your backpack, I don't. Suddenly, something heavy drops from the tunnel, crawling on your back, and you fall to your knees. From the tunnel ceiling onto your back and you fall to your knees. It is a burrow crawler, and you must fight it, for it is trying to strangle you with its long, shiny tentacles. Okay. Combat skill 17, endurance 7. If you have a torch, its flickering will aid you. The burrow crawler is immune to mind blast. All right. So my combat skill is 12 to its 17, but it has 7 endurance. And that would be what it looks like. Okay. Not going to knock the camera over this time. 17 and 7 endurance. Yep. Okay. So let's go to the combat table. Let's just find the combat table in here somewhere. I need to really... There we go. It's right at the back. So I am 12 at the moment, and it is 17. So I am at -5. So I'm using this column here. 5 at -5. It takes 4 and I take 4 damage. So it goes down to 3 and I go down to 6. Okay. A 0, which is a 10. It takes 9, I take nothing. So it is effectively dead. And I killed the burrow crawler, but I am down to 6 endurance from, can you believe, 29? Fucking hell. And I've only had 3 combats. The fuck is that about? This is brutal. Absolutely brutal. Okay, 319. The carnivorous creature lets out a ghastly death cry and falls still. In a panicked state, you scramble to your feet and grab what you believe to be a belt from its slimy jaws. You see a faint light in the distance and you run towards it as fast as you're able. When finally you emerge from the daylight, you fall on leafy ground and fight for breath in painful gasps. Slowly sitting upright, you notice that you are still wearing your belt. It has not been lost during the combat. After all, what you grabbed from the jaws of the burrow crawler was a leather strap with a small pouch and a sheathed dagger fixed halfway. You break open the clasp and find it contains 20 gold crowns. Okay. So I now have a dagger. And I have 22 gold crowns. All right. Feeling a little calmer now, you gather together your equipment and push on eastward into the forest. 157. The forest begins to thin out and until finally you can make out a road through the trees ahead. The highway is full of people heading south. Many are wheeling their possessions on hand carts. If you wish to join the refugees and perhaps learn more about what has happened, I'm going to join the refugees. I'm sick of being by myself. Oh, by the way, I'm going to get 2 points back because I'm not in combat, so I'm going to go back up to 8 thanks to my healing. The people are hungry and exhausted. They have travelled many miles during the night, desperate to get away from the burning city. Suddenly you hear the beat of huge wings coming from the north. Cran, Cran, hide yourself, the cry goes up all over the road. Just in front of you, a wagon carrying small children breaks down, the right wheel jammed in a deep furrow. The children scream, terrified of the approaching Cran. Oh, I'm helping the children. Come on. 194. You sprint towards the wagon. I'm not in combat, so I'm getting a point back, putting me up to 9. Let's see. You sprint towards the wagon. People are running everywhere in panic as the Cran begin their attack. They swoop low and snatch the poor victims off into the sky. A large Cran comes gliding in to hover above the wagon, and 3 snarling Giaks drop from its back onto the saddled horses. The children scream with terror. You must fight these enemies quickly or abandon your rescue and seek cover from the attacks in the shelter of a nearby farmhouse. I'm fighting them. Fuck it. Okay. The ghoulish creatures thrust their spears at you and attack. Fight these creatures as a single enemy. Okay. I can actually flee this combat. I'm not going to. 15, 13. Okay. Endurance 15, 13. I have Mind Blast, and I have my axe skill, so I'm only at -1. Okay, so I'm using this column here. All right. I get a 7. Yep. So, They take 8, I take 2. Okay, so they are down to 5. I am down to 7. Okay. 2. They take 3, I take 5. They are down to 2. I am down to 2. Here we go. This comes down to a dice roll. 3. They take 4, I take 4. I kill them. They kill me. So I died actually saving the kids in the wagon. But that was Lone Wolf Flight from the Dark. What are my thoughts? The combat system, it's okay. You don't have to have dice to play this game. You can just use the random number generator. Did I enjoy the story? Yeah. Did I enjoy the characters? Yeah, I love picking the 5 Kai disciplines. There's 10 of them overall. You can pick whatever ones you want. It's a good series and one that I am definitely going to revisit and play through and kind of see if I can get through the entire series. If not, I'll just play them individually. They are a lot of fun. These sorts of game books are fucking awesome. And anyone who's a fan of fantasy should be introducing these to a new generation of readers. I love the world. I love the story. The only problem I had with it, to be perfectly honest, is it seems kind of railroaded. Like, you'll notice there's a lot of times when I didn't actually have a choice to make. It was just go here, go here, go here, go here. I'm sure that was just because of the choices I made, but still it was a little frustrating. Very well written. The writing style is fantastic. This idea of Lone Wolf being the last of the Kai monastery is really, really cool. All in all, thoroughly enjoyed it. And of course it ended the way all of my fucking game books end. But you know what? I don't care. It's not about the playing. It's about the story. Okay? So there you have it. If you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, leave a comment, do all that good stuff. I apologize for constantly knocking the camera over. But with the new phone and the shoddy tripod I have, it's going to happen. So just deal with it. But until then, stay safe. Have a fantastic rest of your day. Most importantly, read a fucking book. Roll some fucking dice, people.